Feature race for day 2 is the Queen Mother Champion Chase. It may not be a race that's got loads of depth, but boy, does it look like a phenomenal race. The beauty this season looks like we're going to have the pre-festival match at Ascot in the Clarence House Chase. El Fabiolo currently even money favourite. He's actually about the same on the machine too. And we've got El Fabiolo in at second, 11-4 top price with the bookies and not much bigger on the exchanges. The market completely is between those two. There are horses in behind that potentially could come here. I think Dino Blue should because I think she's a 2-miler, but I don't think any of them can get near the front two. For what it's worth, I'm trying to work out a way of getting a bundle of cash onto El Fabiolo. I was a bit anti-John Bond before because of the sibling stuff we talked about before, and not just for that reason, but I mean, I think he was being overrated off the back of what his brother did rather than what he's done. This season, he looks really good, like he backed up what he did at Sandown. He is definitely jumping left, though, right? And I feel like at Ascot, he's going to get absolutely destroyed by El Fabiolo. So I think his price is going to go out between now and Cheltenham. El Fabiolo is going to come in. So my tactic's going to be back El Fabiolo at Ascot, and then I'm going to roll the lot up onto El Fabiolo. I reckon I could probably get myself 7-4, 2-1 about El Fabiolo by doing the two of those. So for the purpose of an anti-post bet right now, leave them clear or maybe get El Fabiolo in some multiples, but I definitely worry about John Bond's tendency to start jumping left. It wouldn't be a problem so much around Cheltenham, and I thought his slower chase run was really, really good. I just think he's going to get found out a little bit at Ascot, and obviously when El Fabiolo beats him again, all of a sudden, there's only so far his price can go, but he's got to drift. He's got to go out a little bit, so I think that will happen, and at that point, I will safely play some money on John Bond. So I'm going to try and be a smart ass, see if I can get both in the book. So cue John Bond beating El Fabiolo at Ascot, and I've done my bollocks and I can't get out of it. Paul, is there a safer, more sensible way to play it? Should I have got stuck in early the season, or do we have to just let it go?
Well, I think the first thing I'd say is I'll be shocked if John Bond turns up at Ascot. Despite what's been said, history with the trainers suggests that he'll end up in Newbury. You know, there'll be half a millimetre of rain and it'll be way too soft. So I don't expect that clash to happen. It's not an absolute certainty that Willie brings El Fabiolo over. Of course, you know, there are options over in Ireland, Dublin. But I guess it probably suits him just to have a bit of a longer break between them and the festival. And then the roll on to Punchestown. So, you know, I can see his reasons for coming over and just travelling him over before the festival as well. But I'll be surprised if they actually do meet at Ascot. If they do meet, then I don't think John Bond will run in the champion chase. I think he'll run in the Ryanair because I think he'll just get trounced and they'll just think it's pointless. If he did run in somewhere near, then you know they'd probably keep the hope up. The only angle into this race is one that we've talked about when we talked about the Arkle and the Champion Hurdle, and that is, you know, there are going to be very few runners. There's probably going to be 5, 6, 7 runners max. Yeah. And you know, there are 8 places when you play anti-post. So it's about trying to find, for me, what that play is. The horses I looked at were Captain Guinness. I think he's probably an obvious one. But he was so bad at Christmas, you know, I'd be concerned there was something wrong. So I couldn't back him right now until I saw an entry somewhere. Ed de ran quite well last time, but it's not this kind of form. Gronatine, did he finish 4th last year?
Yeah.
I think he finished 4th last year, despite making mistakes and not jumping particularly well.
Or did he get up for 3rd? I'm sure I put him up. I think I put him up for an each way bet. I think he might have nabbed 3rd, unless it was extended places I put him up for. But they rode him for a place last year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. But he jumped really poorly, and got out of his ground as well at one point, I think. Appreciate it. Just I'd have thought about Appreciate it got an entry, didn't it? I think. Yeah, it did get an entry. I'd have thought about Appreciate it and just looking back at all Appreciate its form. And all its best form is over 2 miles on the old course.
Agreed. They should have run him in the Arkle last year, regardless of whether he would have won it or not. That's his trip, I think.
Yeah, and he wasn't his best last year. I just wonder whether they might just be tempted to drop back to 2 miles here, given, I think Woolley will want someone else in with El Fabiolo, certainly. I just wonder whether they might be tempted to drop him back. But the horse that I have backed each way in this race is a huge price, 100 to 1. So, and just incidentally, I've done the 100 to 1 each way double with the Supreme horse, Secret Squirrel.
Oh, go on.
It'd be nice to pull that one off, wouldn't it? And that's Start Dynamo. Because if you think about it, it's just obvious, isn't it? Because look, he's got his jumping problems. He has his jumping issues. He settles okay now. We don't have that kind of tearaway thing going on anymore, which should make him a better horse. But you look, where he's finished when he's raced against El Fabiolo, he's not been beaten very far, has he? He just hasn't been beaten very far by El Fabiolo every time he stood up. I think he's been beaten like 4 lengths and 6 lengths or something like that. He's not been beaten the way El Fabiolo beats up and everything. So, I think he's actually a really good bet to place. So that'd be my way into the race now. Clearly, I have had a lot of money on El Fabiolo, quite a lot. So, I've got a strong position on him. I've got the saver position on John Bond. But if I was doing something now, and I have actually backed Start Dynamo 100 to 1 each way.
Nice. I mean, he's 33. He's not running money back. So I would suggest there's literally no point doing that, because that's the price you're pretty much getting the place. Well, that's in 20s. Backing him each way at the 100. You take the punt at those prices, wouldn't you? That's quite a nice little way into it.
Anyway, is he? Where else is he going to go? He's 2 miles.
Oh, I like it. Jamie, you yeah, I think like you were kinder on John Bond than me and Daryl used to be about the horse, but I feel like you've been aware that El Fabiolo just eats up John Bond all the time, didn't he? Or have I got you wrong as well as I've got John Bond wrong?
No, I totally agree. Yeah, we were there at the line, and I wanted to go down and see him at the November meeting. And to me, he needs to step up and trip. Exactly what Paul says. He should be in the rain air. He's not a 2 miler in my book to be there, quick enough to beat Fabiola. Look, the Boinville is going to have to go. As I said to you before, he's going to have to go at the water jump and test Fabiola's jumping.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's his only hope of beating him.
Yeah, get first run.
And get first run. Now, you might have a chance then of beating El Fabiolo if you put he's jumping under pressure, and that's just my opinion. And it'll all come down to who's a better race rider, in my opinion. He's very good in the middle of the section of the race, John Bond. He is very good when you let him go, and that's what might get him home this time. You just wouldn't know. Look, everyone has their day, and it might be this year, but I wouldn't be confident on it, because to me, when he was coming up after the day in the November meeting, he wasn't going that quick in my eye, and he looked like he was feeling the effects in the middle of the race, where El Fabiolo has more about him to get home. But will he be within striking distance? That's the other side of it. I wouldn't put Paul off about 100 to 1 each way about Dysart Dynamo finishing third in the race. Oh God, no. The only other horse that interests me here, Dave, and I see a lot of people will get onto it. It's probably one of the last races we'll probably be onto it. Is it? It is, yeah. Is Dino Blue, and I think Dino Blue is a Grade 1 winner over 2 miles and should be running here.
Yeah.
To pick up the pieces, just in case the top two don't perform on the day. Because she is not a first cousin to the 2.5 miler. She's never won. She's only ran once over the trip. And she was absolutely hammered by Brandy Love in the Mayor's Novice Final at Ferryhouse. And hasn't run over 2.5 miles since. And now people are tipping her for the Mayor's Chase. Look, for everyone who has, just go and look at yourself after that. That's been, honestly, and give up the horses for a while, maybe. Take a break.
You setting me up for later.
Oh, don't tell me you think Dino Blue Pod is going to win the Mayor's Chase. Oh, no, please, no.
But it's that kind of race now, isn't it?
But that kind of race, obviously people are tipping Dino Blue, Dave, for Mayor's Chase if they go across. But I think she needs a fast pace in a champion chase to see a better life. And if they don't perform, and she runs here off a fast pace, with Dysart Dynamo in the race, obviously, there's no doubt Willie Mullins is going to put Dysart Dynamo out in front and go hard to get to run the sting out of John Bond. And because if John Bond doesn't get past Dysart Dynamo, like it happened last year in the Arkell, he will sulk. And that means then Fabiola will win. But I then will be back in running Dino Blue if it ran in the race, because if Fabiola clouts the fence or falls, I think Dino Blue will win then. Don't you? Am I talking absolute nonsense, really?
No, but the £7 is massive when you put it in the context of a tactical race, isn't it?
So, to me, I think she's a right bet, and I think she should run here. And I think was it top price 14-1. I'd be having a bet, but I'm actually going to back it out for the crack because I'm so confident that she'll be in the first three. Yeah.
Well, that's it. She's 6-1 non-runner money back, and that's again where the risk comes with trying to find that each way value, isn't it? Trying to find that each way value, thinking the race might cut, which it probably will. But if it was El Fabiano, John Blond, Dino Blue in there, then I mean, you'd expect something to blow up. I still just remember the year that I backed Steffi Desoy for the championship. Sure, plenty of people did. Altior gets a stone bruise, Duvan's out, or whoever it was. They all just get pulled out the day before, and then Politolog still goes and wins it. Like, it's almost one of those. It's not that for this year. It's just one of those, but it could be something. The other thing we talked about with multiples as well, I don't know if this would be the advice of everybody on the panel, but it would definitely be mine. I talk about doing block bets where you might want to put a couple of selections in from each race going forward of maybe the shorter ones. I know El Fabiano is an even money poke, so if you put El Fabiano and John Bon in there, if you got through this leg of it, you wouldn't be increasing your profit, but you would get a free pass. I'd be tempted to do that with some sort of like shorty multiples to stick them in there. But if you put the two of these in, you get a bit of a chance if John Bon does win it to boost some money, but if not, you get a free pass if El Fabiano goes through. I do think the race is between the two of them. I think everything else there is like playing the place, and there are bets to be had in there. I'm just expecting Nico, hopefully, just to push the button and piss off on him. They used to do it with Altior versus Min. Ruby Walsh did it the year, didn't he, when he tried to settle Min in behind. You have to be in front of horses to beat horses, and Nico de Boinville just wouldn't let Min go in front of him. And I think he'll do the same in this race. We learned a lot from the Arkell last year, I think, but like we say, whether they'll use Dynamite to try and piss John Bon off, I don't know. But you know, that slower chase when they went down the back and Nico kicked clear, I was thinking if he can sustain this to the line, it's probably going to be close to a 180s performance. Obviously, he did look a little bit tired towards the end, but fuck me, down the back, that was almost like they were thinking, right, let's have a little practice run for the champion chase because we need to do something to beat El Fabiolo. I pray that they have the clash at Ascot because it'll be a nice thing to see, but I do worry about his jumping left. So the part of me from a sensible side of it, I don't want them to run against each other. I want John Bon to go to the game spirit because that's the direction he needs to go around for a practice, I think.
I think Nicky Henderson will just have Altior in his mind. That's what he'll have in his mind. You know, he won't want to break his horse on the wrong day.
That'd be great.
And especially at Ascot as well. He's really sentimental about that track now, isn't he?
And if they do run at Ascot, they're going to have to run in exactly the way you just said, and that's how they'll most likely break their horse.
Absolutely. So the thing is, I don't know what the number of fences are at Ascot, but they come up thick and fast. They are hard fences to jump. And like I say, Altior did do it. Altior jumped behind. I think it was Special Tiara was out to the left a bit, and he started to jump left. And then people were saying, "Oh, you worried about his jumping left all of a sudden?" And he was just saying, "Well, no, he just did it because he followed the horse in front." But watch John Bon at Sandown, watch him at Cheltenham. He's actually started to jump left, which he never did as a novice. Which again, like not necessarily it's a major problem going around Cheltenham, but if we talk about like Gaelic Warrior going the wrong way round. Ascot for John Bon for me, if I've got a horse that's a potential champion chaser, in my head, I'd just be like, well, what's the point in taking the risk when Cheltenham's the aim? Obviously, Willie has to run Gaelic left-handed at Cheltenham, but he's doing everything he can to avoid it beforehand. So suspect the same again. Looks a really good renewal, though, and I just hope we don't get one of those disappointments. I pray to God that El Fabiolo is like the second coming and destroys him, but if someone's going to beat him, it's got to be John Bon for me. Looks a good race, doesn't it? Maybe not one to make too much money, but I do like the Dysart Dynamo each way in there. So again, it's just worth having Paul on it. No offense, Jamie.
I do like Jamie's angle with Jamie's angle with Dino Blue, but the noises have been that they feel she'll have no problem getting 2.5. When they're saying those things, that means they're leaning that way.
We'll have to wait to the.
I think you're right. I think they should go.
Seriously worried about that. I'd be serious.
But it'll be weather dependent as well, I suppose, wouldn't it? With the 48-hour declarations, if it's fast ground at the festival, you would say she probably wouldn't have a problem with the 2.5. If it ends up being a soft race, then they might have to question it, mightn't they?
Yeah,
The thing is,
yeah.
they tend to go for the races they're supposed to go for, Willie, don't they? Like Willie will send a mare to the mare's race. Gordon Elliott sent Shattered Love to the JLT. Henry de Bromend will send, like, put the kettle onto these types of races. Willie tends to go for the race they're supposed to go in just because of experience, I think. And he knows that the longevity is you do the right thing. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? It looks like a decent race, doesn't it?
Who's Willie Mullins' main owner?
I mean, JP?
No. Who's the one who he loves? Rich
Tony
Ritchie.
Bloom?
He's hardly going to piss off Rich Ritchie and put Dino Blue because Ella Gordy Massey's going to win the race.
It's mares, though, isn't it? You can't trust a mare. On that bombshell, we will move on and wrap up Wednesday.